For nearly 50 years, the attic of Elvis Presley's Graceland remained locked tight, sealed away, untouched, and undisturbed by time. It became a ghostly part of the mansion's legend, a space wrapped in silence and mystery. Dust collected like a curtain over history. Even the Presley family avoided it. No one ever went up there. Until now. When it was finally opened, what they discovered wasn't just a collection of relics, not just gold records, rhinestone jumpsuits, or old family photographs. What they found hinted at something far more human, and far more unsettling. The air was thick with memory, the kind that presses against your chest. And as those first boxes were moved, it became clear that someone, or something, had been there all along. But to understand what was found, we have to return to the very beginning, to a young man in 1957, driving through the white iron gates of a property that would one day become the most famous home in America. Elvis Presley was just 22. His voice had changed the sound of radio. His smile had become a symbol of youth. And now, with his rising fame, he needed a home that could hold it all, his family, his friends, and the whirlwind of stardom that surrounded him. He paid $12,500 for the mansion on the outskirts of Memphis, Graceland, keeping its name, because he liked the grace in it. He didn't know it yet, but that house would become a reflection of his life, the beauty, the chaos, the light, and eventually, the loneliness. Graceland sprawled over 14 acres of rolling Tennessee land. Horses grazed in the back fields, and the rooms were alive with laughter, music, and the smell of Southern cooking. Family, friends, and hangers-on filled the place day and night. There was always movement, always noise. Among the strangest of Graceland's early residents was Scatter, a mischievous chimpanzee Elvis adored. Dressed in tiny outfits, Scatter went everywhere, to parties, to movie sets, even in cars. He was wild, unpredictable, and often out of control, pulling pranks, snatching drinks, and causing chaos. The staff joked that Scatter was Elvis's untamed side, the side of the king that fame couldn't quite hide. As the 1960s began, Elvis's fame had become its own kind of prison. The crowds were larger. The tours were longer. And the noise never stopped. In 1964, he built what he called the Meditation Garden, a private corner of Graceland filled with white columns, fountains, and magnolia trees. There, away from the flashbulbs, Elvis could sit and think. The man the world saw in glittering jumpsuits and electric lights was quiet here, still, reflective, sometimes sad. But Graceland was also a reflection of his imagination, bright, bold, and larger than life. The famous jungle room, decorated in Polynesian furniture and deep green shag carpet that climbed the walls and ceiling, looked like a dream frozen in the 1970s. Down in the basement, he installed 3 televisions side by side, so he could watch multiple channels at once, unheard of luxury in its day. Graceland was alive. Until suddenly, it wasn't. August 16, 1977. The day the music stopped. That morning, the house was still, curtains drawn. The Memphis sun was already blazing outside, but upstairs, it was cool and dark. Elvis's girlfriend, Ginger Alden, woke up and noticed the silence. Normally, she could hear movement, the creak of floors, the hum of his voice. But that day, nothing. Around 2:30 p.m., she called his name. No answer. She pushed open the bathroom door, and what she saw would stay with her forever. Elvis was lying on the floor, unresponsive. His pajama bottoms were around his ankles. His face had turned blue. She screamed for help. Joe Esposito, Elvis's trusted road manager, rushed upstairs and began CPR. Paramedics soon followed, sirens echoing through the Memphis streets. But it was too late. At 3:30 p.m., the king of rock and roll was gone. News spread instantly. Radio stations interrupted their programming. Fans fell to their knees outside Graceland's gates, crying and singing softly into the night. Nearly 100,000 people gathered to say goodbye. On August 18, 1977, a line of 17 white Cadillacs followed the hearse through Memphis. Celebrities, family, and friends, James Brown, Sammy Davis Jr., Caroline Kennedy, all came to pay respects. Inside the car behind the hearse sat Priscilla Presley, young Lisa Marie, and Elvis's father, Vernon, who looked completely hollowed by grief. Elvis was buried beside his mother, Gladys, at Forest Hill Cemetery. But peace didn't last long. Just 2 days after the funeral, men tried to break into his crypt and steal his coffin. They failed, but the attempt shook the family deeply. Fearing more intrusion, Vernon Presley made a quiet but drastic decision. In the middle of the night, Elvis and his mother's bodies were secretly moved to Graceland, reburied in the meditation garden, the only place Vernon believed they could truly rest in peace. That act changed everything. Graceland became sacred ground, not just a home, but a tomb, a monument, a time capsule. Vernon installed new alarms, hired guards to patrol day and night, and sealed off the upstairs entirely. No one, not staff, not friends, not even Priscilla, could enter Elvis's private quarters. The reason, they said, was respect. But whispers began almost immediately. What were they really hiding? When Graceland opened to the public in 1982, fans could tour nearly every room. They could walk through the living room with its gleaming stained glass, see the kitchen where Elvis made peanut butter and banana sandwiches, even step into the basement where he watched TV. But the second floor remained forbidden. The staircase was roped off. Tour guides recited the same phrase, word for word, "The upstairs is private," out of respect for the family. Decades passed. Presidents, rock stars, and movie icons visited Graceland, and all of them were turned away from the second floor. Even in death, Elvis's personal world remained sealed. The attic above it, even more so. It became one of the great American mysteries. What was up there? Was it just storage? Or had the Presley family left it untouched for a reason? Visitors would look up as they stood in the jungle room or the trophy hall, wondering what might be hiding just a few feet above their heads. Then, in 2024, another shockwave hit. News broke that Graceland was set to be auctioned. A company called Nosany Investments suddenly claimed Elvis's granddaughter, Riley Keough, had defaulted on a $3.8 million loan, and that the property, including everything inside, would be sold to the highest bidder. The timing was strange. Lisa Marie Presley, Riley's mother, had died only the year before. No one in the family had heard of Nosany Investments. Elvis fans flooded social media with disbelief and outrage. Within days, Riley's legal team filed an emergency injunction. Their argument was explosive: the entire deal was fake. The signatures were forged, the company didn't exist, and the loan was an elaborate scam designed to seize Graceland. The case went to court. Riley's lawyers stood before the judge, armed with evidence. But when the hearing began, the supposed lenders, Nosany Investments, didn't even show up. Not a single representative appeared. The judge called the auction off immediately, calling Graceland a one-of-a-kind cultural treasure that could never be replicated or replaced.